Vols are back.
Are we live? Are we live? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Oi, fellow comrades. It is Squidtard here. Can you all hear me? Yes, you can. Okay, good. I got a lot to say. I've got a lot to say tonight. I've got so much to say that I'm taking a minute to let my co-hosts in. Of course, I'm going to let them in shortly so that they can air their grievances, because I'm sure they have plenty to say as well. If you have yet to watch my message to Tennessee video, then I would recommend doing that after we finish up here. But that was awful. Not only was that awful, that was horrendous. Some of the worst Tennessee football I've ever seen in my life. And the worst part about it is we don't get Vol basketball to take away the pain, because turns out they can't do crap all either. Nobody can. I have so much to say and so little time to do it. Obviously, I feel like my co-hosts are going, like I said, they're going to have a lot to say. You know, there's going to be a lot they have to say too. I'll say that much for certain. But Lucas, I don't know if you heard me. He's in the back room right now. I'm going to let him in a minute. But if you could, can you call Julio? We have to call Julio every time because he never checks the group chat. So please do me a favor and give him a call to make sure he can get on the show in time. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to let them in a few. Okay, there he is. Okay, so Lucas and Julio, you guys are, of course, hanging out in the back room right now. I'm going to let you guys in a moment so that you can, of course, let everybody know of your grievances from Saturday's escapades, but I've got to take over for a minute. Like I said, what in the world was that? That's all I can really say. There was so many things that went wrong with what happened on Saturday. I don't even know what to say. Now, I will say this. I'm a little less surprised about what happened than some people are, because there were a lot of Tennessee fans on here. Oh, we got 30,000 people in the crowd. Tennessee's coming out shirtless. They're ready for... They haven't been ready for a game since week 3. This is a repeat example of everything that we've seen for the past several weeks. Ever since week 4 against Oklahoma, it's been this exact same thing on repeat. Just the gas doesn't get running at all until the second half. We just sit there on our bums and do absolutely nothing, let everybody walk all over us, and then we come out in the second half and start playing real football. It's been a repeating thing over and over and over again. It's the same problems on repeat, and they never changed him. Never changed him at all. Even after a loss, we came out the exact same week and did the same damn thing we always do. This defense, this team, this offense, nobody here on this squad, especially the coaches, learn after their mistakes. The only guy that learns after his own mistakes on that team is Nico, the quarterback. And people are blaming him for the loss. People are blaming him. Like he was the one who called the freaking option on 3rd and 7. It was him who called that? Give me a break. Some people have put their blame on the wrong people, and it's caused Tennessee fans to go in crossroads. Either it's sunshine and rainbows and Tennessee's going to come out in the very... I've already heard it. I've already heard Tennessee fans come out and say that we're beating Georgia next week or next season in Neyland. I don't know what about this offense makes you think that we're getting anywhere close to beating Georgia. That doesn't exist. There's no scenario we come out with this exact same offense next year and beat Georgia. And I feel like there's been several examples of how this offense isn't working. And every single week we come out with the exact same preparation, the exact same play style, and with little difference at all, if none. No difference. Nothing on offense, nothing on defense, nothing on special teams. It's the exact same thing on repeat. But you know who didn't do that? You want to know who didn't come out with the exact same game plan they always have? Ohio State. Ohio State came into that game with a lot of the nation doubting them. There were a lot of people picking Tennessee to beat Ohio State in their home stadium. And they said, nope, not in this house. They rallied together, and more importantly than anything, they prepared a playbook that they knew would work against Tennessee. They prepared a playbook. And what didn't work, they adjusted. They adjusted. Not just after their games, but going by quarters. They came out with different plays in the second half than they did in the first half. Meanwhile, here's Tennessee with the 15th inside run up the middle that everyone in the stadium saw coming. Nothing changed at all. And so Ohio State, even with Ryan Day, who I get a lot of Ohio State fans are still pissed at for losing to Michigan, even Ryan Day was able to read that 10th halfback run up the middle. It was like, okay, this is their game plan. We're going to work to stop it. And not only that, but they came out with a plan on offense. So we couldn't just keep sucking off the tits of the defense to bail us out every time. And that's what it was. This entire season has been nothing but bailouts. Bailout against Oklahoma. Bailout against Florida. Bailout against Alabama. Bailout against Kentucky. Bailout against Vanderbilt. It's been nothing but the exact same thing over and over again. And a lot of, everybody's pointing their blame in several different directions. They're blaming this guy. It's on this guy's fault. It's on Nico's fault. It's Dylan Sampson's fault for fumbling the football. It's his fault for getting injured. The injuries, though. You think Ohio State's out here blaming injuries for their loss to Michigan? No. They had a bad game. And then they adjusted like elite teams do. And that's the part that pisses me off the most about this team and about this program. We talk and we coach like we're elite. Like we're the cream of the crop in college football. We're the gods of the SEC. Nobody can touch us. And then we come out on the field and flop. We flop. And no elite program is recruiting in the top 15 and nothing in the top 10. If you can't recruit in the top 10, you're not an elite program. You're just not. Josh Heupel has yet to have a top 10 recruiting class. That's not. And what's going to change? Is he going to get more recruits from the portal? Is he going to change his coordinators? I haven't heard anything about that. He doesn't seem to blame his coordinators for any of this. He comes out every single week with, it's the coach's fault. We got to do a better job coaching. We're going to adjust our coaching plan. And then what happens the very next week? The same damn thing. You're a liar. You are a liar. Because you do this exact same thing every week. So I'm not surprised we got blown out by Ohio State. I'm not. Nothing about that surprises me. Because you came out with this exact same pathetic play style that you always do week in and week out. That's not going to work against an elite team, especially on the road where you suck at. You suck on the road, not just against the elite, but against anybody. Your offense is as flaccid as I don't even have a comparison there. I really don't. Somebody in the comment section can make one for me. Point being, above all else, this is Joey Hazel, offensive coordinator, has been at Tennessee for 2 years now. I'd get it if this offense to this day was still subpar at best. I'd give him a slide on that. But this offense was at its best under Joey Hazel the day he got there. It has regressed every week. Somehow it has gotten worse. And no, you can't blame wide receiver drops. You can't blame the offensive line for that. You can't blame either of those things. Because a good coach knows how to adjust based on their strengths and weaknesses. When our entire offense is a weakness, there's no way we're an elite program or an elite team or anything like that. So I hope by now it's abundantly clear to the administration at Tennessee, or at least to Coach Heupel, that his buddy, his pal, his good old chummy chum, this guy Joey Hazel, is not fit to be a coordinator at Tennessee. Glenn Ellerbe is not fit to be a coach of this offensive line. It is also regressed since the time he got there. And he's been at Tennessee for as long as Heupel has. How has it regressed every single year when it's one of our best positions in recruiting? You can't explain that. You can't. There's no explanation for that. There is not. How is it regressed? And you could say the same thing about all these coaches. Joey Hazel doesn't have a clue what he's doing, doesn't belong here at Tennessee. Glenn Ellerbe doesn't have a clue what he's doing, doesn't belong at Tennessee. Tim Banks, and I've been a Tim Banks defender for the majority of this season, because likely if it weren't for him, we wouldn't be winning these games. But his defensive play style got exposed by a significant way against Ohio State. Yes, they were playing top-tier offense. But again, just like the rest of the team, no adjustments. No adjustments. Not one. Isn't the point of being a coach to adjust based on your strengths and weaknesses? What are you doing on the sideline? What are you doing there? You're watching all of your DBs get cooked and clowned on. Oh, and Ohio State's picking us apart 20 yards apiece. And here you go on the sideline with a hand and a fist straight up your sphincter, not doing a damn thing about it. What are you doing? What are you doing? If you're not coaching, then get the hell out. All these coordinators can go. If you're this so-called elite program that you claim you are, that you're throwing around, we got to do a 10% talent fee at Tennessee because we need all the money we can get. We got to leech off our fans to the highest extent. Well, if you're going to do that and tax us further for all of that, the least you can do is have an elite coaching staff to go along with the team. And you better thank them, too. You better thank every senior on that team is getting ready to go to the NFL draft or graduate. Because they bailed you out. They bailed you out in every single game. And here's the toughest reality of it all. Here's the toughest reality. Next year's schedule is harder than this year's was. By a significant margin. Tennessee has not beaten Florida in Gainesville since 2003. It has been 2 decades since Tennessee walked into Gainesville and beat Florida. Do you think this softcock offense is walking into Gainesville and knocking off the Florida Gators? Do you really think that? I certainly hope not. Do you think this offense is walking into Tuscaloosa and knocking off Alabama? I don't care who the coach is down there. It's Tuscaloosa. And this is Tennessee on the road. Do you think that offense is walking down there and beating them? Of course you don't. Of course you don't. You think this offense is beating Georgia at home? It doesn't matter where it's at. It could be at the moon for all I care, and it wouldn't make a difference. We're not beating Georgia. And the worst part about it is we lose to those 3 teams, and those probably won't be the only losses. Mississippi State on the road. Kentucky on the road. Syracuse in a neutral site. You think we're running the table on all those, even if we do go 9-3? No. No. This coaching staff ain't doing that. We will regress significantly. We will regress to the point that a lot of fans are going to be starting the fire his ass routine with Heupel. And I made this comparison in my live stream. Titans fans know what I'm talking about here. Mike Vrabel and Todd Downing. Mike Vrabel's not a bad coach. Todd Downing isn't even worth it as an offensive coordinator at the JV level. One or the other didn't get fired. Both went down with the ship. And look at the Titans now. Look at them now. They're a mess. And the last thing I know Tennessee fans need to be hearing is we need to fire another head coach, and I certainly don't think that's true. Josh Heupel has done more for this program than anybody else has done in a very, very long time. He inherited this program at its worst and managed to build it up into a relevant program. Tennessee will remain that way. Tennessee will remain a relevant program under Josh Heupel. But for the fans that want an elite program, you're just not getting it. I've seen nothing under Josh Heupel that makes me think that we are at the elite status. If we can't go a season without beating all the teams we're supposed to. And then we get blown out by all the elite teams. No, there's no such thing as an elite team who can't beat Arkansas. There's no such thing as that. So, all that to say, and then I'll leave it off here, and then I'll let my co-hosts, of course, say all their piece. Changes need to be made. There needs to be a significant come-to-Jesus moment for all these coaches, and especially Josh Heupel. Because it's abundantly clear that if you're wanting to get to that championship level, that what you're doing isn't working. And if you were to tell me that we're getting 10 wins every season, sure, I'd be happy with that. 10 wins in a season, showing up to the playoffs, shit, I'd be real happy about that. But I guarantee you, if nothing changes from now until the start of next season, it'll get bad. It's gonna get ugly. Because we're gonna have a lot of losses coming. We got lucky and we got bailed out by a national title level defense. A lot of those guys aren't going to be there next year. There's no guarantee that they're going to be on the same level. And if I'm willing to bet, they're not going to be. They're going to regress a bit. Even just by the slightest margin could make the ultimate difference. So for once, get your head out of your sphincter and act like an elite program, because I'm not paying as much money as I am for tickets and whatever else to watch mediocrity. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, now with all that being said, I feel it's important now. The co-hosts have waited long enough. I'm gonna let them take over. So I'm gonna let them in now. You guys, you there?
Yeah, dude. Just take a chill pill.
You like my profile picture?
I don't know.
Looks like a bum.
That's Glenn. That's Glenn Ellerby.
Yep.
Who?
Right, well, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with bums.
Okay.
You know, the best offensive line coach in the nation.
Of course.
And speaking of bums, I was just going to say our basketball team right now, trying to make our weekend worse. They're losing to Middle Tennessee State right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when it rains, it pours. It's not enough for Tennessee to lose. They have to have the worst week imaginable. Now, before Lucas, of course, I'm going to let you say everything you need to say about this game, and then I'll let Julio do the same. But before that, it's time for roll call because there are a lot of people in here on this podcast tonight. We got Blockhead, Scott Crawford, Young Man Connor, the Bubs. Let's see. Ben Knowles, the Rose Bowl, or the Rose Boy, not the Rose Bowl, the Rose Boy. Even Odd, Matthew Strachna, Bow Hunting 101, Frank Propery, Rebel Jew, Slushy is also here. What's going on, buddy? Atypical Gump. What's going on, buddy? SEC football, Tennessee basketball is losing. Yes, I am well aware. Well aware. Chile my gamers. What's going on to you, buddy? Whack 545. And long live Kyrie Jackson and Astra 10X. Alan Nadeau the third. You are the SEC equivalent of Penn State. Good enough to be near the top, but not good enough to be at the top. Ain't that the truth? Well, at least... Well, remember, Penn State won a playoff game, so think about that real quick. All right.
Also, keep in mind, Penn State also got like the easiest draw known to mankind.
Yeah, apples and oranges, but that doesn't really matter. Speaking of oranges, Lucas, tell us everything you thought about that game, and I'm sure you've got some critical thoughts too.
What can I say? We straight up got cheeked. We straight up got clapped. What can I say? It was an absolute beatdown. And ever since they went up 21-0, and we scored 10 points. I was like, oh man, we might come back, but of course we never did. Offensive line is soft. The whole narrative about Ohio State being soft, I feel like they basically put that to bed Saturday when they played us. Because they were definitely the tougher team. They were more tough than we were. Like, we was playing freaking Charmin soft. It was absolutely ridiculous. The offensive line it's bad. It's ridiculous. It's year 4. We should not have this problem. It's ridiculous. It's year 4. The offensive line shouldn't be this bad. And it's all Glenn Ellerby's fault. Like, he hasn't been able to recruit that well. Yes, he got David Sanders, but that's about it. The offensive line has been bad. And wide receivers, I love our wide receivers, but good Lord, they dropped so many passes this year. It's ridiculous. I think Kelsey Pope is another guy who's got to go. Ever since he's got here, wide receivers have not been that good, in my opinion. I think he needs to go as well. It's ridiculous. The only groups that have basically shown up in these games is the running back group and the quarterback group on the offense. And I guess you could also make an argument for the tight end group. But yeah, offensive, Glenn Ellerby and Kelsey Pope, they got to go. And I've seen it's 50-50 on whether people want Joey Hazel to be fired. Because I can understand. It's kind of hard to drop some good plays when your offensive line is this bad. Mm-hmm. So I can kind of give Hasley a break there.
I can't.
And same with defense, man. This defensive line getting absolutely pushed around by Ohio State. And Tim Banks not bringing any more pressure, it's ridiculous. He was able to call blitzes against, all these small teams and everything, but against, teams like Ohio State or Georgia, no blitzes. None. It's ridiculous.
You know what it is?
Well, the other thing is whenever you're facing, a team like Ohio State that has Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka and practically other wide receivers that are practically going to be NFL wide receivers, why are you putting them on an island?
Mm-hmm.
what the hell are you doing? I understand Jermon McCoy could possibly be an NFL draft pick, but you don't need to put him in that situation.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is just him getting cooked one time or whatever, and or have an off night. And guess what? He had an off night and he got burnt. And I mean, I hate to say it, but it's just stuff like that. Like, I just don't understand why we didn't do what Michigan did, which was just bracket the wide receivers and play two high safety. Why the hell were we running a one high safety look half the time? What are we doing?
It's the same question I could ask about the blitz. Why didn't we ever do any of that? Not one time did we ever put any sort of pressure on Will Howard. Meanwhile, Ohio State was bringing up 6-7 guys on the line every single time Nico stepped up to pass. He was running for his life every time the ball was snapped. And that's part of the reason why people just blame Nico for all this, because they just saw him right away. Like, oh, he sucks. Worst quarterback ever in the history of history. You guys wasted $8 million on this guy. He was the only guy who actually showed up.
Dude, it's hard to play. I don't care how good of a quarterback you are. It is hard to play with this bad of an offensive line. Like, I don't care what. You could be Tom freaking Brady. I don't care.
Well, see, the other thing, I think the reason why the offensive line is not good, the thing is, the offense is supposed to be run at a tempo, but I don't feel like, especially just the tackles, which is Campbell, who's going to be gone now, and Hurd, who's coming back next year from all of that I know, like, they just weren't in shape. Like, I don't understand how they weren't in shape, which I understand some of Hurd has to deal with injuries and stuff, but still, I just don't understand, like, how you don't. If they're not in shape to run the offense, why are they playing?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this. Part of the reason why, back on the offense, I see Blockhead's comment, we didn't run tempo all year, because they didn't trust This is the main issue beyond all else with this offense, is that this coaching staff, whether it's Heupel or it's the entire staff, they don't trust Nico. Worth a damn. They don't. There was not a single, not one deep pass attempt. Not even once. It's asinine. It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, here's Alex Golish 2 years ago. Every single time, tempo. They run, a swing pass, it's something. And then out of nowhere, deep ball, touchdown. Because it was authentic. It was an offense that had a multi-view of plays. And even when Hendon Hooker would make a mistake, he'd come in the very next drive and boom, touchdown. Because when you have a quarterback that you can trust that's actually good, chances are he's going to make some plays. And Nico's shown already that he can make plays despite the fact that the team around him and the play calling is not up to par by any margin.
So another reason is that I don't know if it's something to do with the receivers not being able to read the coverage well, but a lot of the offense predicates on how the receivers read coverage. Because what you're supposed to do as a receiver in this offense is you're supposed to look and see what the defense is going to give you, and then you're supposed to run like a route according to that. Usually, it's a bunch of option routes. Usually, and so the reason Hyde was so good was that he read coverage as well, and he knew when to run they always streak boy or whatever. But if he's faster than everyone and he can just run right past you, does it really matter?
Might as well if you're faster than everybody.
And you're just only going to put one safety back there. Why not just run a streak if he can get past you? So I mean that's literally like why he dominated that year, was he knew how to read coverages like that. And the thing is, they say now this is just someone on my space. I don't know if this is true or not, but they say Squirrel struggles with reading coverages, which, like I said, but it's just I don't know. I don't know if like the receivers can't read coverage, if they're not getting enough separation, or he doesn't have enough time to throw to receivers. Because I've seen some open receivers before, but either we barely miss him, they drop it, he doesn't have enough time. It's like an entire combination of like a bunch of different factors, I think, that is holding this passing attack back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And bow hunting 101 makes a good point. You got to get first downs to go tempo and not 3 and out.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that one.
Yeah, and so I mean that's just how I feel about just the passing in general. I mean the running, of course, has been pretty good, but I feel like a lot of the reason the run's good is because we have Dylan Sampson, and Dylan Sampson's one of the best running backs in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though he had some struggles dropping and stuff, and he's kind of injury prone, but still he's one of the best running backs in the nation. And I feel like Payne Lewis is also one of the more talented running backs, probably in the SEC, like for how young he is. I mean, heck, he had what 10 rushes for about 77 yards against Ohio State. I don't know, but I mean that's not too bad or whatever. But
Well,
I think
Dylan Sampson, of
but
course, was a huge part of this offense.
yeah,
And
he got injured.
originally, when I saw he wasn't playing in the Ohio State game, I was like, "Oh crap, he must have went down off screen during the start of the Ohio State game." That's why things kind of fell apart later on. But then after realizing, I looked it up after the game. Apparently, he had hurt his hamstring in the Vanderbilt game, and it was likely that he wasn't going to be playing. But instead of preparing for that with new plays, instead our coaching staff was just shoving Jolly Ranchers up their ass the entire 3 weeks that we tried to prepare.
see, here's the other thing, is that we have Braylon Staley, who's a high 4-star, who's extremely talented, and we have Mike Matthews, who's a 5-star. If your other receivers aren't cutting it, put the other people out there. I don't care if they're freshmen. If they catch the ball, they can catch the ball.
This is why.
Why does it matter if he's a freshman?
This is why.
It's because I was gonna say it's because Heupel wants to put in a more experienced player, which I mean, it don't matter to me if the freshman looks better than the senior, then put in the freshman.
This is partly as to why Nick Saban is seen as such a legendary head coach, because loyalty and whatever else mattered nothing to him. It was the best people are what's on his squad. The best guys for the job are the best ones on the field and on the sideline. He'd fire you or put you on the bench with little hesitation. National Championship game 2017. Jalen Hurts wasn't playing up to par. Instead of waiting until the second half, he throws his ass right out for Tua Tagovailoa. Now you're taking a gamble when you do that, but it's also better than sitting on your ass and acting like there's nothing wrong. Same thing that happened the very next year in the SEC championship. Tua was playing bad, and now out comes Jalen Hurts once again. So he clearly was not afraid to make changes and make adjustments when necessary. And truth be told, I want them to let Nico sling it beyond anything else, because I'd rather go down swinging than winning off of Mickey Mouse bullshit. And we spent the entire season winning off of Mickey Mouse Disney World bailout BS. I would rather lose trying than going down like that. It's a major problem, and if it continues, it's going to get way worse before it gets any better.
Well, if I wanted to be an optimist or whatever, someone did point this out to me. The last time we got blown out in a bowl game, well, this technically was a first round playoff, so it technically wasn't a bowl game. But the last time we got blown out 17-42 with a pretty good defensive team was in New Year's 1998 against Nebraska. But that team, is a lot different.
Yeah, you know what that team had? You want to know what that team had? An existing offense, and beyond all else, they had talent. Yes, they did have talent. This team has talent too, but you want to know what they did have? A coaching staff that trusted their quarterback. They let Peyton Manning go out there and sling it. At least in the Nebraska game, they went down swinging rather than dying, rather than doing that.
Yeah.
This coaching staff does not trust their quarterback. They dare not let him throw deep because he'll throw about 19 interceptions if he does that. Well, at least he's trying.
Yeah, well, the other thing, they're like, well, I don't think they let him run because he could get injured. I'm like, he could get injured falling down the fucking stairs on his way to a class.
I could get injured and break every bone of my body going outside to get the mail. What does that have to do with what excuse is that? That's the thing, man. It's all excuses. I listen to Heupel in his press conferences. Every time they ask him a question about, do you think the refs play a part in how these games go? And here he goes.
No, but it's just so but it is funny though. Just like, oh God, no, just every time like people try to make an excuse for him, but like just the way they call the offense or whatever, like they're afraid to let him run the ball. I just don't understand it. You okay, Squid?
Is Squid just gonna stay like that for the whole show? I guess he is.
No,
but yeah, what can we say? Our team got exposed. Fire Ellerby. Fire. You know what? Screw it. Fire everybody. Let's just go back to the Georgia year we lost to Georgia State.
So here's the thing. I know a lot of people are mad at Willie Martinez because of how bad our secondary played last night, but it also ain't Willie Martinez's fault that you put his entire secondary on a fucking island.
No, I like.
He told them to guard NFL cast.
I like Willie
and
Martinez.
Told the guard NFL wide receiver. Here's the other thing: he gets the least amount of money for NIL out of all the groups, and he's still produced one of the better secondaries in the SEC. I feel like that's a pretty good job. That's just my opinion.
Oh, thank you, Scott Crawford, for the $20 super chat. He says Nico is the only one that showed up to play. Props to him. He has a great ability. I'm guessing that a great ability to run the ball. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And hopefully, yeah, that's the thing, man. Nico is going to be improving. He's going to be improving as he goes on. And I think a lot of people are saying he sucks and he's the worst quarterback of all time as a freshman. You can't expect him to come out and be one of these really, really good quarterbacks as he's immediately starting off the bat. Now, I get it. Some Tennessee fans are out here saying, like, oh, Nico's the truth. Nico's going to be even better than Milton or Hendon Hooker. What? No, of course he wasn't. We all knew he wasn't, but we thought that part of the mistakes of the offense are going to be undone because they were going to at least produce on the level they did last year. But, of course, they didn't. Not even close.
So I got a question for y'all. Do y'all think it would have been better to start Nico his true freshman year, so that he could have got the growing pains out instead of this year?
I do.
Possibly.
I do.
Yeah, probably.
But not because of the reason that you're thinking. Not because of experience or anything like that, but because we had the same problems last year as we did this year. It was a loyalty issue. They didn't trust Joe Milton to throw the ball. And so my retort to that was, okay, then put in a quarterback that you do trust, like the true freshman you paid $8 million for. Maybe you should do that. Yeah. But, of course, they didn't. They did the exact same thing week in, week out.
Also, I saw some people freaking out about Squirrel White in my transfer. Here's the thing. I think, I'm not going to say anything bad about Squirrel. He's played here for a while and stuff. But all I'm going to say is I feel like there's definitely people in the portal we could definitely get that are better than him. That's all I'm going to say.
It won't matter because they won't do anything with this offense. We don't throw the ball anymore. We don't.
Yeah.
We just throw screens and run the ball. That's what we do now.
Well, George is apparently might get Zachariah Branch, and I don't know why the hell he would go to Georgia because they don't really throw the ball either that much.
Because talent. That's why. because everything hates me. That's why. They're gonna win the Natty this year, and everything's gonna be vain. Eat Arby's.
Probably, as much as I hate to say it. I mean, although I will give as much as we sucked, I will give Ohio State credit. They looked really good. Oregon versus Ohio State is probably going to be a really good game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the way Ohio State played, heck, call me crazy. They could win it all if they keep playing like that.
Young man Connor said, "I thought Squirrel White was declaring for the draft. Doubt it. If he had a good year this season, it was definitely way more possible. But this was a terrible year for all of our receivers.
Yeah. Most of them are transferring out. It's I'm already going famous on Twitter for all the wrong reasons.
I do got a question. Do you think maybe losing all this, depth in the wide receiver room and just, I don't know, because I know we only usually play like 4 to 6 receivers or whatever. Do you think maybe it might be a blessing in disguise, kind of like how the clean out of the secondary was last year?
No, it's not, because it's not a solution. It is, but it's a short-term solution. It'll fizzle out as soon as we get into the season after that, because the coaching's not going to change. You can put as much talent as you put on that field, and it's not going to change if the coaching staff doesn't trust their quarterback. Hell, we could have Julio Jones and Jamar Chase on our offense, and it wouldn't make a difference because they don't trust the quarterback to do anything, so their potential wouldn't be realized.
Yep.
This is the reality of the situation is we have a championship level defense with a Butch Jones offense. That's what we've got. So unless that changes,
it's not a Butch Jones it's not a Butch Jones offense. We're not throwing it 8 yards behind the line just yet.
Give it time. You'll be surprised what happens next year.
It always killed me when Butch used to do that. He would throw like 8 yards behind the line on like a 4th and 1. Like, what are you doing?
And if this staff doesn't change and nothing really changes from here, then you can expect pretty much this exact same thing next season, if not a whole lot worse. And I'll stick by that. I'm not going to suddenly change my mind once you get to the preseason and be like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, this team, this is a team that can win 11 games this year. No, I will stick by the idea.
What are you talking about, Squid? Just like, what are you talking about, Squid? I want to be Mr. Voltard here and be. I'm going to be Mr. Optimist here. In 1998, we played Syracuse our season opener. So, we're going to win the national championship, Squid. Don't you know that?
Of course. And I've already had these arguments with other Tennessee fans. And,
I'm joking, by the way.
Oh, of course I know. But a lot of these idiots here on these fan pages for Tennessee, I try and explain to them the exact same things I'm telling to you guys, and they just don't listen. They either don't read or they don't listen, because the responses I got were, "You're stupid." Wow. Oh my. Ow, I'm in so much pain from that. You're stupid? Ooh, that really put an ouchies in my feelers. And then, of course, the other one was, if you think we need to fire Heupel, then you're an idiot. And I was like, where did I say we need to fire Heupel? I spent just this entire time telling you we don't need to fire him. Are you even listening? That's another thing. A lot of these Tennessee fans aren't capable of reading comprehension, so they just spew out whatever comes out from down here, and then they just spit it out. So it's a serious problem. It starts from the roots and it goes all the way to the fan base. It's a serious problem all around. We think we're this high and mighty elite program, when in reality we're just not there, and we won't get there until some serious decisions are made in the future. We spent 45 minutes yapping about this. You guys ready to talk about something else?
Yeah. I guess you want to go ahead and talk about the other playoff games?
There really isn't much to talk about. All of them were blowouts, pretty much the exact same way that we got blown out. None of them were
Yeah.
competitive. And what I will say is that the first round is really good for whittling out a lot of the frauds and pretenders in college football. And it did its job this week. It did its job for sure. It whittled out the pretenders and set up for what are going to be some really fun quarterfinal and semifinal games.
Yeah. But this just goes to show when they announced they was going to expand the playoffs, they shouldn't have gone to 12 teams. They should have gone to 8. Like
Yeah.
I remember, I said 12 teams is too much, and my friends were telling me, "No, you're an idiot. 12 teams isn't too much."
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I think you've definitely got an argument that 12 teams is too much.
Well, another thing that it's done is unfortunately it's vindicated some of the stupid takes from Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina fans who are on the outside looking in because they suck. But they're sitting there talking about, oh, well, if Alabama were playing SMU, they'd win. Alabama would beat SMU by 3 touchdowns. South Carolina, they already beat Clemson, and they'd beat Tennessee and Indiana by 3 touchdowns each. Well, you want to know something? You know who Indiana would beat? A 4-8 Kentucky. You want to know who? You want to know who SMU would beat? A 6-6 Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. Probably should have done that.
Yeah.
And Kirk Herbstreit made a complete ass of himself before our game by telling everybody, forget the wins. Wins suddenly don't matter anymore. Suddenly, it's funny that wins don't matter anymore now that Alabama's on the outside looking in. It's like you're just trying to make it obvious that you care about the money and nothing else.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah. Yeah. But I tell you, man, the way Ohio State played, that Alabama, they wouldn't have beaten Ohio State, especially if Jalen Milroe was to play like he's been playing for most of the season. Then yeah, Alabama's not beating Ohio State.
What are you talking about? They're the best team. They're the best team to touch a football field. Didn't you see when they beat Georgia in what was it, like week 3?
Oh yeah, I also saw when they lost to Vanderbilt.
I mean, I know I'm just joking.
Yeah, it turns out when you lose games, that has an impact on where your ranking is in the playoff. Did you guys know if you lose 3 games, you're probably not good enough to make the playoff? Just some thought.
Well, will Ryan Williams become the first ever 17-year-old to win the Relay Quest Bowl?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Michigan versus Alabama, 2 pretty bad teams.
I've got a feeling they're going to blow out Michigan, and then they're going to spend the entire offseason going, see, should have let us in. Should have let us in the playoffs. You would have seen all those blowouts if it were for Alabama. Should have let us in. We would have done that. Yes, you would have.
Even though Alabama lost our Mickey Mouse offense.
Yeah. Notre Dame. Let me say it like this: even if you did make the playoff, Notre Dame or Penn State would have wiped you off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. You weren't good enough to be there. I don't care how undefeated you are in hypothetical matches that you make up in your mind. It doesn't matter. Keep the voices in your head to yourself. We don't care.
Also, Nick Saban is not your coach anymore.
That too. That's important.
Yeah. Heck, even I think Arizona State could put up a fight with Bama.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's not just them sharing this blame. It's Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin with their crybaby routine, and then South Carolina fans are the exact same way. And the SEC. This is why the SEC is the best conference, because this wouldn't have happened. So they can lose to a couple of 6-win teams, but they beat everybody in the playoffs? Yeah, give me a break. A bunch of morons, I'll tell you. It's a mess. You guys want to go ahead and cover some of these upcoming bowl games real quick?
Yeah, I guess.
Sure.
I guess we can.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
and by the way, Tennessee's now up by 11. Looks like they're starting to pull away.
Yay! Look at
Hey,
that.
the week's not gonna be horrible.
Yeah. It's almost
Bas-
like our football team. Wait until the second half to do something.
yeah, basketball team coming up clutch again.
Yep. All right. Well, here we go. We'll start with I don't want to do any. I mean, there's a Thursday bowl game that we could cover. I'm not going to cover all of these because we just don't have the time. But how about the
Um,
rate bowl? Rutgers versus Kansas State. Kansas State a 6.5 point favorite. Who y'all got in that one?
Kansas State.
well, you said Kansas State versus Rutgers.
Yep.
Yeah, Kansas State.
Okay. Cool. Okay, let's go to Friday. The Armed Forces Bowl. Oklahoma versus Navy. Oklahoma a 3 point favorite. This is a tough one to call, but I'm gonna say Oklahoma squeaks it out in the end with Jackson Arnold,
Yeah, I'm going with Oklahoma.
who's not playing.
Yeah, I would take Oklahoma just because I think Brent Venables will prepare enough for the option, and I think his defense enough is uh you know um but disciplined enough to defend it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna be Michael Hawkins or whatever his name is, because Jackson Arnold is obviously at Auburn. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Yay, Auburn!
Here's one that I'm really excited for. Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt. I'm actually really excited for this one. Georgia Tech's a 3 point favorite in this Birmingham Bowl. I'm really interested to see. I don't know if did Haynes King, is he playing in this one? Because I'm pretty sure Pavia is, and that's going to be a great game. Diego Pavia versus Haynes King.
I don't know.
It's
But
so
I
hard to
wonder
keep track of who's playing and who's not, and
I wonder if they're gonna have that golden cowbell for the game, because Georgia Tech versus Vandy used to be a rivalry, and that was the trophy for whoever won that game.
okay, so
Yeah.
yes, Haynes King is playing in this game, so this is a really tough one to call. God. Obviously, I hate to go against my boys, Sea Dog and Rec Talk. We're good buddies, but I've I've got a feeling Vanderbilt's going to pull this one off because they're probably way motivated after finally getting to a bowl game. And this Vanderbilt team is just built different. So give me the Commodores over the Jackets.
You
Nerds
know
over
what?
nerds.
Nah, I'm gonna take Georgia Tech. I think Vanderbilt hasn't really been looking that great as of late. And Georgia Tech, after that performance, that close performance against Georgia, I think Georgia Tech's gonna come out with this.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Speaking of Pavia, can't y'all wait to face him 2 more years because he got 2 years of eligibility?
Oh
Well, we
yeah, I
get him
can't
at
wait to
home next
own him
year.
2 more years.
We get him at home next year, so I'm not too concerned. But then the year after that, oh boy, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Liberty Bowl, Texas Tech versus Arkansas. Arkansas a 2 point favorite against the Red Raiders. This is a tough one to call, I think, because I really have no idea what's going to happen here. But I'm going to go with the Red Raiders. I think they're a more complete team on both sides of the ball, and I just think their offense would be too much for. I think it would be too much for the Piggies to keep up with.
I guess I'll go with Arkansas.
Okay,
I'm taking Texas Tech.
gotcha. All right, next up, the Holiday Bowl at 8:00. Syracuse versus Washington State. I like Washington State. I think they're a pretty good team, but Syracuse is a 16.5 point favorite for a good reason. Give me the Orange Men to get the W over the Cougars.
Yeah, same. I'm taking the Syracuse Orange. Washington State lost their QB to the transfer portal, and I think Fran Brown. I think he's turning the Syracuse program around right now. I'm going with Syracuse.
Yep, Syracuse also.
All right, next up, at 10:30 p.m., the Las Vegas Bowl. 6-6, Lincoln Riley and USC taking on 8-4. Good old Texas 8-4 with Mike Elko, and I like A&M here. They're a 3.5 point favorite. I think they're going to. I think they're going to do some real good work against USC's defense. I haven't seen any sort of improvement from Miller Moss or anybody on that team. that makes me think that they're beating A&M and getting across that defense. You give me the Aggies big here.
Yeah, same. Give me A&M.
A&M.
Gotcha. All right, next up, the Fenway Bowl, UConn versus North Carolina. Give me the. You know what? Give me the Fighting Bill Belichick's.
What's
Yeah.
the spread?
Yeah.
That's North Carolina by 3.
You both
Against
taking North
UConn?
Carolina?
Yeah, I'm taking North Carolina.
You know what? I don't care. Give me UConn.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. All right, next up, Boston College versus Nebraska. Can Nebraska finally get a winning season after all this time? They're 3.5-point favorites against the Fighting Bill O'Briens. I think it's going to be close, but I think Dylan Raiola is going to rally, and I think they're going to get the W over the Eagles. So give me Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm going to take Nebraska as well.
You know what? Give me Bill O'Brien and the boys from Chestnut Hill.
I can't blame you
Just
for
because I
that
think
one.
it'd be hilarious.
It would be pretty
Just because
funny.
I think it'd be funny.
It would be pretty funny.
If that happens, I'm going to laugh so hard.
The curse of Nebraska forever lives on. The football guys
Days
will
of
never
our
know them.
days of our Cornhuskers.
All right, next up, the old. I'm gonna skip the New Mexico Bowl. We're gonna go to the Poop Tart Bowl. Iowa State and Miami. The Hurricanes are 3.5-point favorites against the. You know what this is? I just realized both of these teams are the tropical storms. Not quite a hurricane or a typhoon or a cyclone. They're just tropical storms because they're both not good enough to make the playoffs. But yes. Anyway, tough one to call. I like both of the guys here, but I think isn't Cam Ward? Isn't he declaring?
Probably.
That'll sway my decision. Yeah.
Yeah, if Cam Ward declared for the draft and he's opting out of the bowl, then I'm probably going to take Iowa State.
That is not the case. Okay, I just confirmed it. Cam Ward is indeed playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Oh yeah, Miami.
Yeah, I think the Canes will take care of business here.
I'm taking Miami. I thought about doing it for Johnny Majors, but you know what? I was like,
gotcha. All right, then. The Alamo Bowl. And this is interesting because it's two teams from the same conference. BYU and Colorado. The Buffaloes have a chance to get a 10-win season under Deion Sanders. And BYU's had a really good season as well. You know what this is? This is the Kansas Owns-You Bowl. That's what it is. And if I had to guess...
Has Shador and Travis, have they opted out of the bowl?
That's what I'm looking up to confirm. See, I don't know all of these. I don't know every single one of these, so I'm having to make sure.
Deion's players are playing. Deion's players are playing. Shador and them are.
Yeah, I figured so. And there's no news on it whether or not he's going to play. So I'll just go under the assumption that he is. I think it'll be close, but I'm going to take the Buffaloes here over BYU. Give me the fighting Deion Sanders.
Future Titans quarterback Shador Sanders leads the Colorado Buffaloes to a win over the BYU Cougars.
Thing is, the Titans are so bad, I can't even argue with that.
Yeah, I'll take Colorado.
Gotcha. And then finally, on Monday, December 30th, which will be the last episode of the All-Star podcast this year, later on that day. This is happening at 2 o'clock, so it won't happen during our show. It's the Iowa Hawkeyes, our latest victim in bowl games, versus good old Eli Drinkwitz of Missouri. Missouri is a 3-point favorite in the Music City Bowl. It's a tough one to call. Iowa's really struggled against SEC opponents in these bowl games, and because of Kirk Ferentz and the fact that I've never seen him actually be a team worthy in their bowl games, I got to go with Eli Drinkwitz. I think they knock off Iowa here.
Yeah, I'm taking Mizzou.
Yeah, I guess I'll take EY Dragons.
Yeah, Dragons. We stand on business over here. We stand on business. Okay, then, yeah, that's all the bowl games, except for the ones I don't feel like covering because, well, I don't. But, yeah, on next Monday, we're going to have a real fun time because we get to cover pretty much all the really big games, the playoff games, the bigger bowl games. And then we'll get to do it again the very following Monday with the rest of the playoff games and just sort of continue that cycle. Not a lot of college football left, so might as well just enjoy it while we've got it. That's all I can really say.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yep.
What is it, 9 o'clock? Lucas, did we beat him?
All right.
Don't go to bed yet.
Yeah, we beat them.
No, don't go to bed yet, Lucas.
Yeah, you heard her, didn't you?
It kind of just sounded like muffled audio. I don't know if she was telling you to go to bed. Is it past your bedtime, Lucas?
No, she was just telling me we was going to work together in the morning.
Gotcha. Well,
Who is it? Jackson and
No, it's the president of the United States.
yeah, Andrew Jackson, don't you know?
Yeah.
He a playoff president, sir.
I'm more of a Theodore Roosevelt guy myself.
I have.
Remember, you can't kill a bull moose.
Damn,
All right,
this playing
this
the
is-
audio. Dadgummit.
Yeah, this is going completely down the drain.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here. Yeah.
We're all washed up.
Get out. Get out. Here.
God save the Queen!
There we go. Now it played. Okay. I was waiting for it to play the God Save the Queen audio. Glad we did that. All right. Well, of course, before we put a wrap on this show, you guys know what I got to do before anything else. First of all, Scott Crawford, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, love you, Squid. Hope you have a great night and Merry Christmas. That is also important. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and, of course, Happy Holidays to each and every one of you. Hope you get to spend some quality time with your family, your friends, or whoever else you want to spend time with during the holidays. And, yeah. If you want to spend it watching Squidtard videos, be my guest.
I don't know if I'd want to spend my Christmas that way though.
Well, of course you don't. You want to spend your time watching Lucas Sharp videos because you're like I'm Lucas Sharp. All right then. Well, 25 push-ups. We gotta get to work. Let me full screen so that you guys can get a good view, a good angle of my tomfoolery. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna figure it out. Hold up. I'm trying to go full screen. I did it!
Yeah.
Okay.
Round of applause.
All right. Let me get these over with.
I am
quick.
Squidtard. I am the greatest YouTuber of all time. Nobody makes videos better than me.
I have no idea what you just said because I just put off my headphones, but I'm sure you just told some straight facts.
I am Donald Trump. Believe me, Home Alone 2 is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. I straight up carried that
Let me
movie.
move my camera downwards so that you can get a good view. All right. Here we go.
You mean a
25
terrible
push-ups. Let's go.
view?
1, 2,
$2, $3, $4, $5, $6, 7,000.
13.
I make more money than all you in your lives.
21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Let's go. That's how we do it over here. Yeah. That's how we do it. Hell yeah. Hell to the yeah. Okay then. Enough of that. Fellas, thank you again for always tuning into the Vol-Star Podcast. You guys are great people. Love each and every one of you, regardless of the fact that our team blows in football. And we nearly blew it in basketball, too.
Hey, we won by 15 still.
Hey,
Actually, we won by 18. We won by 18, actually.
them's facts.
So technically, it was still a blowout.
So real quick, do a last roll call before we wrap it up tonight. Chris Nobody, Prince Among Kings, SEC Football, Blockhead, Hairy Leg, Young Man Connor, Naughty Parrot, Hairy Leg. Good luck to your Georgia Bulldogs, buddy. I of course, with the fact that Carson Beck's out, but I think you guys will be fine. Let's see. Emily Teasley. Amada, good to see you, Amada. Ben Knowles. All you guys are great people. If I missed your name, I deeply apologize, but you're here in my heart, and that's what counts. And of course, very special thank you to both of my co-hosts here on the show for being here tonight. You guys are great people. You have any?
Thank you so much.
All right, drop that. And yeah, you got any finalizing words before we put wraps on the stream?
I guess I'll go first. Go Vols, even though we lost. Congrats to the men's basketball team and the women's basketball team for both being undefeated. And also, Merry Christmas. Of course, this is our last show before Christmas. Hope y'all have a good Christmas. Spend time with your families. And, make sure you eat all that good food. And make sure you watch Home Alone 2. I am Donald Trump. My acting was very great in that movie. I carried that movie.
Anyway, Julio, what's your thoughts?
Just go Vols and Merry Christmas, and I think that's about it.
All right. Well, you heard both of them. They couldn't have said it better than I can. So thank you guys again for watching. As always, love each and every one of you. And of course, go Vols and power to Tard.